and good Tuesday evening. Of course, the big story, weather story out there is going to be this cold weather, but of course we have some precipitation on the way to match up with that cold weather. That gets everybody's interest, and everybody wants to know, of course, how much snow they're going to get. So we're going to try to talk about all that for you coming up here in this weather webcast video here, and we have a little time to dissect all this. Here's your weather headlines, and again, the main story, and we want to stress this really over the next week, is still going to be the cold temperatures. We're talking about some very frigid temperatures, especially for Georgia, any time of the year, let alone especially during the wintertime, but it's going to stay cold, and look here, we got a chance of snow coming up for us on Thursday. It looks pretty likely now, and of course, yesterday we were kind of teetering-tottering on about how much we would see across the area, but right now it looks like a good average of 1 to 2 inches here for us coming up for us. Now, it could be more, but right now we're going to say 1 to 2 inches there. We'll see how that works out. We have to watch the system develop. Now, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, we'll have a much better grasp on what we're expecting for accumulations because we'll have a system to actually look at. The system is really just now beginning to develop, so we haven't had a chance to see how much more she gets involved with it. But believe it or not, and this is what I'm talking about when I say the main story still for the week is going to be the very cold weathers, because we're going to have even colder weather coming than what we've been dealing with. In fact, this new air mass coming in for the weekend is going to make the one that we just had look childish pretty much and feel pretty childish compared to what we're looking at for this weekend. So a lot to talk about, and we'll get to it. First off, a few cold weather safety tips, of course. Wear layers of clothing. This is very important there, to wear the layers of clothing, especially with the wind out there. And then wear a hat. Of course, most of the heat escapes between your head and also your feet, so wear a hat. Toboggans are nice. That always makes things feel good. And of course, wear mittens over gloves, and we explain this, of course, all the time, but mittens are much better for your hands because it helps to kind of hold your fingers together, and that in part actually holds in the heat a little bit more better for you for your hands there. And of course, if you don't, and if you do have gloves like myself, just went out and got a new pair of Gore-Tex gloves actually, but if you do that, you want to make sure you have plenty of hand warmers to put in there, and that'll help out as well. And of course, wear warm shoes out there. All right, here's your overnight lows tonight. Another cold night. The funny thing is, I had someone come up to me today and actually say, it must have been warmer today than what it has been. And I said, no, it's actually the same high temperature of 31 degrees, but it felt a whole lot warmer because you're starting to get used to this cold weather, if that's hard to believe. But 15 again tonight in Cohutta, 12 in Lafayette, 17 Calhoun, and 15 degrees in Chatsworth coming up. All right, now that's about enough on the cold weather. Now let's talk about our storm system. Right now you can see the southeast is pretty dry. This is the storm system that we're watching now, just now coming in out of Canada and just now beginning to develop some snow now for areas of the Dakotas here, also Montana. And this is what we're going to be watching throughout the daytime hours tomorrow to see how much more she gets involved with the system. And it's going to make a V-line straight down toward our area. So here's your surface features. Here's your low pressure developing now in Montana. This energy is going to dive down, following around that jet stream of very cold air that's settled right across the southeast here. And as it does so, bring us a chance of seeing some wintry precipitation. So here's your weather maps for tonight. High pressure in full control. High pressure slides down to our south, shutting off the Gulf of Mexico coming up for Wednesday. That's important. But here's our next system developing up here in the Plain States. And by Wednesday evening, notice how it's expanding as it moves down towards the south. Cold weather actually stays in place right across the area here, and by Thursday morning, here's our weather maker here, our storm system off to our west, and this will be moving on into the area Thursday after sunrise and continuing throughout your daytime hours on Thursday. So we'll be continuing to watch this. This is what we call an Alberta clip as it dives down out of the Alberta provinces over there of Canada, and then it slides on here. These are very quick movers, so they don't drop like heavy snow, and they don't drop a ton of snow, but again, 1 to 3 inches of snow are possible across a good portion here of the mid-south and southeast region. Main time for us, again, looking to be between about 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Thursday. Problems are likely, and one of the big reasons, obviously, is because everything is pretty much frozen right now. The ground is frozen, so we're expecting strong gusty winds out there as well. Winds 20 to 30 miles an hour gusting in behind this system. That's important because any snow that we do have out there that has fallen or any snow that's falling is going to be blowing around, so we're going to be actually dealing with blowing snow. And also, with the strong winds, wind chills will be below 0 coming up for us as well. And we're going to have to watch out for some black ice also forming and freezing on the roadway. So here's your snowfall totals again, a little closer in perspective for all of us here in Northwest Georgia here, from Dalton, Lafayette, Calhoun, Chatsworth, everybody. We're expecting about 1 to 2 inches. Now, if you head over towards the east and also to the northeast in the mountains, they're expecting anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches, as well as around Fort Mountain, Grassy Mountain. You guys can see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches also. with the higher snowfall totals there. And if you're heading south toward Birmingham or Atlanta, maybe around a dusting to a half an inch there. National Weather Service is already putting out a few advisories, but right now we don't have any in effect here in northwest Georgia, but I expect that to change as we go throughout your Thursday, where we're expecting the snow to move in. Again, 1 to 2 inches. It's not going to be a major storm, but again, it's going to be the first real significant winter weather event around the area. And then the main story after that on Friday is going to be we'll have a few flurries, but cold. Look at Friday's high, only at 23 degrees. And look at those. Yeah, that's a 9 on Saturday morning and an 8 coming up for us on Sunday morning. So quite a bit of cold air moving in behind this system as well. So a lot going on in the southeast, a lot of weather stuff to talk about over the next several days. We'll continue to keep you updated, and we'll have another full update obviously coming up tomorrow on this system here as well as we track it moving in. But again, 1 to 2 inches, not out impossible, and a few travel problems could develop, especially Thursday night heading into Friday. That's your weather webcast video for tonight. Stay with us. We have the hope to have the next one on coming up for you tomorrow evening. Have a great evening.